My dear friend, you have posed a most curious and modern question. You ask what secrets the great manufacturers of automobiles, those gleaming chariots of your age, would keep from us. It is a query that smells of steel and gasoline, of commerce and hidden knowledge. At first blush, it seems a matter for an engineer, or perhaps an economist, not for a dusty academic more at home with ancient texts and the rustling of library leaves. And yet, the more I turn it over in my mind, the more I see that your question, perhaps without your fully intending it, drives right to the very heart of the human condition. For the secrets of the car maker are not, I suspect, to be found in the schematics of an engine or the fine print of a warranty. The most profound secrets they keep are not about the car at all. They are about you, the driver. They are about what it means to be human in a world of ever-increasing speed, of manufactured desires, and of journeys that promise a destination, but so often leave us feeling as if we have not truly arrived anywhere at all. So let us sit together for a while, not as mechanics, but as philosophers, and see if we can uncover what these great industrialists, in their wisdom of the marketplace, understand about the human heart, and what they, by the very nature of their trade, are careful never to say aloud. The first, and perhaps most foundational secret, is woven into the very fabric of their advertising, into every glossy image of a car parked atop a mountain at sunset, or cruising down an empty, sun-drenched coastal highway. The secret is about the nature of the destination. They sell you the car, but what they are truly marketing is the idea of arrival. They are selling a promise that somewhere, down that open road, lies a place where you will be happier, more fulfilled, more complete. The new job, the romantic getaway, the escape from the dreary familiarity of your own neighborhood, these are the destinations dangled before your imagination. The car is presented as the indispensable tool for reaching this promised land. And in this, they are tapping into one of the deepest and most persistent longings of the human soul, the belief that our true life is always just around the corner, in the next place, after the next achievement. We live, so many of us, in a perpetual state of not yet. Happiness is not here, in this moment, but there, in the future, that the car will help us reach. But have you ever noticed, my friend, the curious hollowness that often follows the attainment of such a goal? You buy the car, you take the trip, you arrive at the scenic overlook. You stand there for a moment, and it is indeed beautiful. But the profound, life-altering satisfaction that was promised seems to elude you. The old anxieties, the familiar discontents, the quiet ache of your own soul, you find, to your dismay, that they have all come along with you for the ride. They were packed in the luggage of your own heart. The manufacturer, you see, cannot tell you this. It would be ruinous for business. They cannot admit that the geographical destination is a red herring. The secret they must keep is that no change of scenery can, by itself, bring about a change of soul. The man who is miserable in London will, after a brief novelty has worn off, be just as miserable in Rome or New York, for he brings his own misery with him. He is the constant in the equation. What if the true purpose of a journey is not to arrive at a destination, but to be changed by the journey itself? What if life's meaning is not to be found at the end of the road, but in the manner in which we travel it? The car maker encourages you to think of the miles as a tedious necessity, something to be covered as quickly and efficiently as possible. Your modern maps and navigation systems are designed with this single purpose in mind, to find the fastest route, to avoid delay, to eliminate the journey, and deliver you to the destination. But this is a profound error. It is like a man who, in his haste to finish a great novel, reads only the last page. He has the result, but he has missed the entire story. The point of the journey, the point of life itself, is not to get it over with. It is to live it. It is to pay attention to the changing light, to the interesting people you meet along the way, to the unexpected detours that lead to unforeseen discoveries. It is in the struggle with a flat tire, in the patience required by a traffic jam, in the kindness of a stranger who gives you directions, that character is forged and wisdom is gained. The ultimate destination we seek is not a place on a map, it is a state of being. It is to become the sort of person who can find joy and meaning wherever they are, because they carry that joy and meaning within them. This is a journey inward, a pilgrimage of the soul. The car cannot make that journey for you. In fact, by its very promise of an easy, external solution, it can become a distraction from the real work that needs to be done. The secret, then, is this. The car maker sells you a powerful machine for going places, but you were made for a journey on which no machine can take you. You are seeking a home that is not in this world, a peace that cannot be found by driving away from your troubles. And the first step on that true journey is to stop looking at the map of the world and to begin looking at the map of your own heart. It is to realize that the most important journey you will ever take is the one from the person you are to the person you were created to be. This leads us to a second, and perhaps more intricate, secret. It concerns the very heart of the machine itself, the engine. Most people who drive a car have only the vaguest notion of how it works. They know that you put fuel in one end and motion comes out the other. They know that you turn a key and a complex and powerful process is initiated. But the inner workings of the internal combustion engine, the precise dance of pistons and valves, the spark of ignition, the conversion of controlled explosions into smooth, rotational force. This is a mystery to all but a few. We sit in command of a machine whose fundamental principles we do not comprehend. We trust that it will work, and when it doesn't, we are helpless, entirely reliant on a specialist, a mechanic, to diagnose and fix the problem. The manufacturer provides an owner's manual, but this manual is not a treatise on mechanical engineering. It tells you what buttons to press, what fluids to check, what the warning lights mean. It is a guide to operation, not to comprehension. Now, is this not a perfect parable for our relationship with our own selves? Each of us is, in a sense, a driver sitting inside a fantastically complex machine, a human person. We have a body, a mind, a will, a set of emotions and appetites. We turn the key of consciousness each morning, and the machine starts. We go through our day, fueled by desires and ambitions, and we produce actions and results in the world. But how many of us truly understand the engine that is driving us? How many of us have explored the inner workings of our own souls? We feel anger, or love, or ambition, but we do not know whence it comes, or what its true nature is. We make choices, but we are often unaware of the deep, hidden motivations that are truly steering our will. We are, for the most part, strangers to ourselves, operators of a machine we do not comprehend. The world, much like the car manufacturer, offers us an owner's manual for the self. It comes in the form of self-help books, productivity techniques, and pop psychology. It tells us how to manage our anger, how to optimize our performance, how to hack our happiness. It gives us tips and tricks for operating the machine more effectively. And some of this advice may be useful in a superficial way, just as it is useful to know how to operate the windscreen wipers on your car. But it does not and cannot address the fundamental questions. What is a human soul? What is it for? What is its proper design and function? The owner's manual never tells you why the engine was built in the first place, or what its ultimate purpose is. It assumes you just want it to run smoothly. The secret the manufacturer must keep is that you are not, in fact, a machine. You are something far more mysterious and wonderful. You have what I once called a ghost in the machine. You have a conscience, a sense of right and wrong that seems to be built into your very framework, what I have termed the Tao or the natural law. You have a longing for truth, for beauty, for goodness, that cannot be explained by mere mechanics or biological imperatives. Your engine is not just a bundle of appetites and instincts. It is a spiritual entity created in the image of something transcendent. To understand yourself, you do not need an owner's manual. You need a creator's blueprint. You need to engage in the deep and sometimes difficult work of introspection, of moral reasoning, of philosophy, and I would humbly suggest, of theology. To truly know your own engine is to understand that your appetites and emotions are not meant to be the masters of the machine. They are like the powerful explosions in the cylinders. They provide the energy, but they must be harnessed and directed by something higher. That higher thing is your reason and your will, and that reason and will, in turn, are meant to be guided by the light of the eternal moral law. When the machine is running properly, the will, guided by reason, is in the driver's seat. The emotions and appetites are in the engine room, providing the power but taking no orders from anyone but the driver. So many of our modern troubles, both personal and societal, stem from a mutiny in the machine. We have allowed the engine to take over the steering wheel. We are driven by our passions, our fears, our greed, and we wonder why we keep crashing. The secret is that you are more than a machine, and the key to your life is not to find a better operator's manual, but to rediscover the divine architecture of your own soul and to learn, with patience and grace, how to become the wise and virtuous driver you were created to be. This requires humility, a willingness to admit that we do not have all the answers, and the courage to look under the bonnet, not with the arrogance of a master, but with the reverence of a student before a great and beautiful mystery. If we are to understand the engine, we must, of course, consider the fuel. This brings us to the third great secret. A car is utterly dependent on its fuel source. It may be the most magnificent and powerful vehicle ever constructed, but without petrol in the tank, it is nothing more than a very heavy and inconvenient piece of sculpture. The manufacturer designs the car to run on a specific type of fuel. To put water or sand in the tank would be disastrous. The secret they keep from you is not about petrol, but about what you believe your fuel to be. They, and the wider culture of which they are a part, spend billions of pounds to convince you of a simple and compelling idea that the fuel for the human machine is desire. More specifically, it is the pursuit of self-interest, the acquisition of things, the experience of pleasure, and the avoidance of pain. Think of it. The entire world of advertising is a giant, gleaming petrol station offering to fill your tank. Are you feeling empty? A new car will fill you up. Are you feeling insecure? This luxury brand will give you the fuel of status. Are you feeling bored? This holiday, this gadget, this experience will provide the spark. This is the fuel of the world. And it works, for a time. Like petrol, it is potent. It can motivate us to work hard, to achieve, to strive. It can produce a burst of energy, a feeling of satisfaction. But the secret, the one they cannot possibly tell you, is that this fuel is not what your engine was ultimately designed to run on, and it has two very serious problems. First, it always runs out. The pleasure of the new car fades. The thrill of the purchase evaporates. The status gained is immediately threatened by someone with a newer, better model. You are thus condemned to a life of constant, anxious refueling, always seeking the next hit of pleasure or validation, a slave to the fuel gauge of your own ego. The second problem is that this fuel pollutes. A life run on pure self-interest, on the ceaseless acquisition of things and the pursuit of selfish pleasure, leaves a toxic residue in its wake. It pollutes our relationships, turning other people into either tools for our advancement or obstacles to our desires. It pollutes our communities, fostering envy, competition, and a callous disregard for the less fortunate. And most terribly, it pollutes our own souls, leaving them coated with the soot of cynicism, anxiety, and a deep, gnawing sense of meaninglessness. We feel a profound emptiness, precisely because we have been filling ourselves with the wrong thing. We are trying to nourish a spiritual being with a material fuel. It is like trying to feed a man on a diet of sand. You can fill his stomach, but you will starve him to death. So what is the proper fuel? What was the human engine, the soul, designed to run on? The secret is that it was designed to run on a fuel that the world's petrol stations do not sell. It was designed to run on love. And here I must be very precise, for that word is used to cover a multitude of things. I am not speaking primarily of the feelings of affection or romance, though those are good things in their own right. I am speaking of what the Greeks called agape, a selfless, willed, creative love that seeks not its own good, but the good of the other. This is a love that is a decision, a commitment, an action. It is the love that gives without asking for anything in return. It is the love that serves the poor, cares for the sick, forgives its enemies. It is the love that builds families, communities, and civilizations. Now, here is the most remarkable thing about this fuel. Unlike petrol, it is not a finite resource. In fact, it operates on a completely opposite principle. With worldly fuel, the more you use, the less you have. With agape, the more you give away, the more you find your own tank is filled. To love another person for their own sake, to perform an act of selfless service, to create something of beauty for others to enjoy, these actions do not deplete us, they replenish us. They fill us with a deep, quiet, and lasting joy that the fleeting pleasures of the world can never imitate. This is the fuel that cleans the engine. It burns away the soot of selfishness and ego. It purifies the soul and makes it run as it was intended to run, smoothly and powerfully, not with the noisy, sputtering combustion of self-interest, but with the clean, quiet hum of a will aligned with goodness itself. The great secret, then, is that you have a choice of fuels. The world will try to sell you an endless supply of a fuel that will never truly satisfy and will ultimately poison you. But you have access to another source, a spring of living water, a fuel that is infinite, pure, and life-giving. To choose this fuel is to declare your independence from the entire economy of manufactured desire. It is the most radical and the most freeing decision you can ever make. This consideration of fuel and the finite nature of worldly pleasures leads us directly to the fourth great secret, one that is both profoundly unsettling and, if understood correctly, profoundly hopeful. It is the secret of planned obsolescence. It is no great revelation that a car manufacturer designs its products not to last forever. On the contrary, their business model depends on your car becoming, in a few short years, undesirable. This is achieved in two ways. First, through mechanical wear and tear, parts fail, and repairs become more expensive than replacement. But more subtly and more powerfully, it is achieved through the manipulation of style. The 2024 model is deliberately designed to make the 2023 model look slightly dated, slightly less sleek, slightly less desirable. A new curve here, a redesigned headlight there. These small changes are not primarily for improved function, but for the creation of dissatisfaction in the owner of the older model. They are planning the obsolescence of your contentment. They are engineering your desire for the new. This is a brilliant business strategy, but it is also a microcosm of the entire human experience in this world. For everything in our temporal existence is subject to a kind of planned obsolescence. Our own bodies age and fail. Our youthful strength gives way to weakness. Our beauty fades. The pleasures we enjoy are fleeting. The achievements we celebrate are soon forgotten. The very moments of our lives, once they have passed, are gone forever. We live in a world of constant decay, a world where everything is destined for the scrap heap. We are all driving a vehicle that is guaranteed to break down. This is a terrifying thought, and we spend a great deal of our energy trying to ignore it. We try to fight it with cosmetics, with exercise, with the accumulation of wealth and power, as if these things could build a fortress against the relentless march of time. The manufacturer, and the world he represents, profits from this terror. They offer their products as a temporary distraction, a way to feel new and shiny and powerful for a little while, a way to stave off the feeling of our own obsolescence. Buy this car, and for a season you will feel you have cheated time, but it is an illusion, and a cruel one at that. The secret they must keep is that their product cannot solve the fundamental problem. It can only mask it. In fact, their entire business model is based on the problem of decay and death. But what if, my friend, we were to look at this from an entirely different perspective? What if this universal fact of obsolescence, this deep and painful sense of impermanence, is not a cosmic design flaw, but a clue? What if the constant dissatisfaction we feel with the transient things of this world is not a sign that there is something wrong with us, but a sign that we were made for something else entirely? A man who is born in a dungeon may, for a time, be content with the damp and the dark. But if, through a crack in the wall, he catches a glimpse of sunlight and a patch of blue sky, he will never be truly content with his cell again. His very discontent becomes the evidence of a world beyond his prison. Now, here is the most remarkable thing about this fuel. Unlike petrol, it is not a finite resource. In fact, it operates on a completely opposite principle. With worldly fuel, the more you use, the less you have. With agape, the more you give away, the more you find your own tank is filled. To love another person for their own sake, to perform an act of selfless service, to create something of beauty for others to enjoy, these actions do not deplete us, they replenish us. They fill us with a deep, quiet, and lasting joy that the fleeting pleasures of the world can never imitate. This is the fuel that cleans the engine. It burns away the soot of selfishness and ego. It purifies the soul and makes it run as it was intended to run, smoothly and powerfully, not with the noisy, sputtering combustion of self-interest, but with the clean, quiet hum of a will aligned with goodness itself. The great secret, then, is that you have a choice of fuels. The world will try to sell you an endless supply of a fuel that will never truly satisfy and will ultimately poison you. But you have access to another source, a spring of living water, a fuel that is infinite, pure, and life-giving. To choose this fuel is to declare your independence from the entire economy of manufactured desire. It is the most radical and the most freeing decision you can ever make. This consideration of fuel and the finite nature of worldly pleasures leads us directly to the fourth great secret, one that is both profoundly unsettling and, if understood correctly, profoundly hopeful. It is the secret of planned obsolescence. It is no great revelation that a car manufacturer designs its products not to last forever. On the contrary, their business model depends on your car becoming, in a few short years, undesirable. This is achieved in two ways. First, through mechanical wear and tear, parts fail, and repairs become more expensive than replacement. But more subtly and more powerfully, it is achieved through the manipulation of style. The 2024 model is deliberately designed to make the 2023 model look slightly dated, slightly less sleek, slightly less desirable. A new curve here, a redesigned headlight there. These small changes are not primarily for improved function, but for the creation of dissatisfaction in the owner of the older model. They are planning the obsolescence of your contentment. They are engineering your desire for the new. This is a brilliant business strategy, but it is also a microcosm of the entire human experience in this world. For everything in our temporal existence is subject to a kind of planned obsolescence. Our own bodies age and fail. Our youthful strength gives way to weakness. Our beauty fades. The pleasures we enjoy are fleeting. The achievements we celebrate are soon forgotten. The very moments of our lives, once they have passed, are gone forever. We live in a world of constant decay, a world where everything is destined for the scrap heap. We are all driving a vehicle that is guaranteed to break down. This is a terrifying thought, and we spend a great deal of our energy trying to ignore it. We try to fight it with cosmetics, with exercise, with the accumulation of wealth and power, as if these things could build a fortress against the relentless march of time. The manufacturer, and the world he represents, profits from this terror. They offer their products as a temporary distraction, a way to feel new and shiny and powerful for a little while, a way to stave off the feeling of our own obsolescence. Buy this car, and for a season you will feel you have cheated time, but it is an illusion, and a cruel one at that. The secret they must keep is that their product cannot solve the fundamental problem. It can only mask it. In fact, their entire business model is based on the problem of decay and death. But what if, my friend, we were to look at this from an entirely different perspective? What if this universal fact of obsolescence, this deep and painful sense of impermanence, is not a cosmic design flaw, but a clue? What if the constant dissatisfaction we feel with the transient things of this world is not a sign that there is something wrong with us, but a sign that we were made for something else entirely? A man who is born in a dungeon may, for a time, be content with the damp and the dark. But if, through a crack in the wall, he catches a glimpse of sunlight and a patch of blue sky, he will never be truly content with his cell again. His very discontent becomes the evidence of a world beyond his prison. The freedom to do whatever you want is the freedom of a toddler in a room full of sharp objects and poison. It is a dangerous and ultimately self-destructive illusion. True freedom, the freedom of a mature and flourishing soul, is the ability to want what you ought to want and to do what you ought to do. It is the liberation from the tyranny of your own selfish whims and destructive impulses. It is the freedom to choose the good, the true, and the beautiful, not because you are forced to, but because you have come to love them. This freedom is not found in escaping from our obligations to others, but in fulfilling them. It is found in the commitments of marriage, in the loyalty of friendship, in the service to one's community, in the worship of God. These things may look like constraints from the outside, like tracks that limit our movement, but they are, in reality, the very things that allow us to travel swiftly and safely toward our true destination. The car maker sells you the dream of the open road, the freedom of no tracks. But the secret of a well-lived life is to find the right tracks and to stay on them, for it is only there that you will find the glorious liberty of the children of God. This distinction between the illusion of freedom and the reality of our condition leads us to the final and most practical secret. When you purchase a new car, it comes with an owner's manual. As we have discussed, this book is a technical guide. It tells you about the car's features, its maintenance schedule, the meaning of its various lights and gauges. It is focused entirely on the vehicle itself. It is a book about the how of the machine. But there is another kind of book that is essential for any journey, and that is a map. A map does not tell you about your car's engine. It tells you about the world outside your car. It shows you the landscape, the different roads you can take, the obstacles you might encounter, and most importantly, the location of your destination in relation to your starting point. The owner's manual is about the machine. The map is about the meaning of the journey. The great and final secret that the car manufacturer, and indeed much of the modern world, must keep from you is this: they are in the business of selling you ever more detailed and complex owner's manuals, while encouraging you to forget that you even need a map. The whole of modern culture is geared toward making us obsessed with the vehicle of our own self. We are encouraged to spend our lives tinkering with the machine, optimizing our diet, our fitness, our productivity, our personal brand. We are constantly checking our own gauges, our feelings, our status, our level of happiness. We are experts on the owner's manual of the self. But we have lost the map. We have forgotten how to ask the great questions that the map represents. Where have I come from? Where am I going? What is the purpose of the journey? What is the right road to take? To be an expert on the functioning of your car is useless if you are driving in circles, or worse, heading confidently in the wrong direction, toward a cliff. And to be an expert on the management of your own life, to be successful, healthy, and efficient, is a terrible waste if that life has no ultimate meaning or purpose, if it is not directed toward a worthy and transcendent destination. You see, the manufacturer has no interest in you looking at a map. The map might tell you that the most important journeys do not require a car at all. It might tell you that your true destination is not a place of wealth and luxury, but a place of humility and service. It might suggest that the best road is not the wide, smooth motorway, but the narrow, difficult path. A focus on the map takes your attention away from the vehicle, and their business depends on your obsession with the vehicle. So what is this map? The map is the accumulated wisdom of the human race concerning the nature of reality and our place in it. It is found in the great traditions of philosophy, in the enduring works of literature and art, and, I believe most clearly, in the revelations of religion. This map is not something we invent for ourselves. It is a chart of a real country, a country that exists independently of our opinions about it. Reason is our ability to read the map. It is the tool by which we can study its features, understand its symbols, and plot a course. Faith, then, is not, as some would have it, a blind refusal to look at the map. True faith is the trust that the map is, in its essentials, accurate, and that the map-maker who drew it knew what he was about. Reason and faith are not enemies. They are the two things you need for any successful journey. You need a map you can trust, and you need the intelligence to read it correctly. The greatest secret, the one that underpins all the others, is that you are a traveler in a vast and meaningful country, on a journey to a glorious destination. The car is merely your temporary conveyance. Your modern world wants you to forget the country and fall in love with the car. It wants you to spend your life polishing the chrome, upgrading the sound system, and worrying about scratches on the paintwork, all while you are lost in the wilderness, with no idea of where you are or where you are going. The call of wisdom, the call of God, is a call to lift your eyes from the dashboard and to look at the landscape. It is a call to unfold the ancient map, to find your bearings, and to start your true journey home. Humanity's most important choice is how we view our relationship with ourselves and the world. Do we see ourselves as a fancy machine whose only purpose is to run smoothly? Or do we see ourselves as a traveler, a pilgrim, a child of the King, on an adventure-filled journey back to our Father's house? Your answer to that question will determine not just how you drive, but the entire meaning and destiny of your life. And so, my dear friend, we have returned to where we began. The secrets of the car manufacturer are indeed profound, but not in the way one might expect. They are secrets about us. They reveal our longing for a destination that is not on this earth, our mysterious and spiritual nature that is more than a machine, our need for a fuel that the world cannot provide, our built-in obsolescence that points to a desire for permanence, our illusory freedom that hides a deep dependence, and our desperate need for a map to guide our journey. What then shall we do? We should, I think, be grateful for our cars. They are marvelous and useful tools. But we must see them for what they are, temporary vehicles for a temporary part of our journey. We must not give them our worship. We must not make them the center of our lives. Instead, let us turn our attention to the driver, to the state of our own soul. Let us learn the art of inner mechanics, not through trendy manuals, but through the hard, patient work of self-examination, repentance, and moral effort. Let us choose, every day, to fill our tanks with the pure fuel of selfless love, giving it away freely, knowing that its source is infinite. Let us look upon the fading and obsolescence of our worldly possessions, and even of our own bodies, not with fear, but with a strange and wonderful hope, seeing it as a reminder that we were made for an imperishable kingdom. Let us embrace our dependence on one another and on God, finding our true freedom not in lonely rebellion, but in joyful and loving service. And above all, let us keep the map open on the seat beside us. Let us study it with our reason and trust it with our faith, and always, always keep our eyes fixed on the true destination. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream, and the greatest dream is to complete this journey well. The road will be long, and at times it will be difficult. There will be breakdowns and wrong turns, but do not lose heart. The journey itself, when undertaken in the right spirit, is a thing of beauty. And the one who drew the map is also the one who travels with you, serving as your guide, your mechanic, and your companion. He will not abandon you. So, as you get back behind the wheel of your own life, I have only one last piece of advice, the same I would give to a frightened child in a dark wood or a brave soldier heading into battle. Courage, dear heart. Courage. The journey home has already begun.